Greetings, spirit beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race, our common enemies, death, welcome on Try Something.Vegetarian on YouTube. I'm 𝙲𝙾𝙽𝚃𝚃. Today is the 19th of July 2019. Iran says it will commit to nuclear inspections if US lifts sanctions. Washington Post article review. So basically you could argue the US has no excuse anymore for these what some call illegal sanctions. Let me first turn this thing off. Turn it on. Okay, desktop. So basically if Iran, Rouhani and Zarif, I've added Zarif to the total picture. Perhaps I'll upload the transparency. If they allow these inspections, totally allow inspections in all of their facilities and make it possible to check what that plutonium and uranium is used for, then there's no excuse anymore for sanctions. If these are meant to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, they can't anymore if they allow these inspections. And of course they still make ballistic missiles for other purposes, etc. So yesterday I went through these 12 demands Pompeo made that Iran has to live up to. And I made clear which ones are fair and which ones are unfair or illegal sanctions or demands. And it's comparable to a note of a terrorist that has these demands, basically. So yesterday I covered this article. Iran makes, quote, substantial, unquote, nuclear offer in return for US lifting sanctions, 𝙲𝙰𝙲𝚃𝚃, Thursday, 18th of July 2019. And today I'm going to cover the version of the WashingtonPost.com. Iran says it will commit to nuclear inspections if US lifts sanctions. Putin made clear he doesn't agree with sanctioning Iran. I forgot the title of the video again, but I can easily look it up. That's the Reuters article. So Putin said Tehran is in full compliance with its nuclear commitments. Sanctions against Iran are groundless. According to Reuters.com. So let's let's first read this article. And we're trying to be a stick in the spokes of the World War III wheel to crash the wheel so that universal peace is created instead, and we take that shortcut to controlling all factors that control aging and creating a perfect society in which maximum fulfillment is bestowed upon all its citizens, everybody, and also all the animals. So automation, technology, I think there will be many more jobs in AI, in IT, information technology, robotization, computers, programming, especially also programmers are wanted, I think. 16:13, time to start reading.
Iran says it will commit to nuclear inspections if US lifts sanctions. Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif addresses a forum on sustainable development at U.10. Headquarters on July 17. Richard Drew, By Carol Morello, July 18 at 7:52 p.m. New York. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif said Thursday that if Congress lifts sanctions against the country, Iran will commit firmly to allowing international inspections of its nuclear program. Speaking to reporters at the Iranian mission to the United Nations, Zarif said Iran's parliament, or Majlis, would quickly ratify what is known as the Additional Protocol, a part of the Non-Proliferation Treaty that enforces monitoring by the International Atomic Energy Agency. Under the 2015 nuclear deal, Iran has voluntarily allowed inspections, but the agreement requires ratification by the Majlis by October 2023. If he wants more for more, we can ratify the Additional Protocol and he can lift sanctions, Zarif said, referring to President Trump. He has said that he will take any measure to Congress. Fine, lift the sanctions and you have the Additional Protocol. Asked whether he meant before 2023, Zarif replied succinctly, tomorrow. The offer does not represent a modification in the agreement, and Zarif said Iran will not reopen negotiations on altering the elements of the 2015 deal, comparing it to buying a horse twice, but Zarif called his offer substantive, an assessment shared by 𝙲𝙾𝙽𝚃𝚃, head of the Arms Control Association. Kimball said the proposal was a meaningful step toward locking in Iran's long-term commitment to the nuclear deal, formerly known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Washington would be foolish not to agree to work with other JCPOA partners and explore the offer by Zarif, he said. Tehran complied with the agreement for more than a year after Trump withdrew from it in May 2018, but Iran's economy, already staggering under U.S. sanctions, has taken more debilitating blows recently as the Trump administration began trying to drive Iran's oil revenue to zero. In response, Iran has twice exceeded the limits set under the deal on the amount and purity of its enriched uranium. The region seemed to be potentially rushing to war after recent incidents, including attacks on tankers in the Persian Gulf and the shooting down of a U.S. drone, that American officials said were part of an Iranian effort to harm the United States and its allies. Trump said he called off a retaliatory strike on Iran for the drone attack, but tensions remain high. We live in a very dangerous environment, Zarif said. The United States has pushed itself and the rest of the world into probably the brink of abyss. If it's brinksmanship, it's the United States doing brinksmanship. We are not engaged in brinksmanship, we're simply protecting our interests. It is unlikely the Trump administration will accept the offer Zarif outlined. The State Department's Iran point person, Brian Hook, said Wednesday that Iran has never responded to a U.S. offer to negotiate and that the Iranians continue to reject diplomacy. So, for as long as they continue to reject it, our sanctions will intensify, he said. Iranian officials are just as adamant that they will not budge. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has set a list of 12 conditions to be met, such as a halt to military support for militias in neighboring countries, before the sanctions can be lifted. Asked whether there was any room for compromise on any of them, Zarif said, a list of one is too long. Zarif spent almost 90 minutes talking to about 20 U.S. journalists, in what appears to be a defiant response to restrictions imposed on him by the State Department. He arrived in New York on Sunday to attend meetings at the United Nations only after Pompeo authorized a last-minute visa issued in Switzerland, but simultaneously the State Department slapped strict geographic limits on Zarif, his delegation, all 13 diplomats accredited to the United Nations, and their families. Even the bordering streets were specified. Before, the Iranians were prohibited from traveling more than 25 miles from Columbus Circle in Manhattan. Now, it's down to about 6 blocks. The area includes the UN headquarters, the Iranian mission on 3rd Avenue and the ambassador's residence on 5th Avenue. The route to the airport is delineated in the notification, including the Queens Midtown Tunnel and Interstates 495 and 678. Zarif characterizes the notification as giving him entry to 3 buildings, and says he isn't inconvenienced. But he said it is a hassle for diplomats' families, making it difficult to send their children to school, pray and seek medical attention. The restrictions have not isolated Zarif, however. He said he may meet with members of Congress, but declined to name them. He suggested that one of them will not be Sen. Rand Paul, Archie, who during a golf game with Trump reportedly proposed acting as a mediator with Iran because of his dovish credentials. "I don't meet with emissaries," Zarif said dismissively. "But Iran is interested in breaking the impasse."
So isn't that weird, or perhaps even ludicrous, that the Foreign Affairs Minister of Iran is treated like a terrorist? I don't know if they have any good reason for this, but I doubt it.
With substantive moves, Zarif said. "The additional protocol is on the table," he said, "and more alternatives could be made. If they are putting their money where their mouth is, they have got to do it," he said. "They don't need a photo op, they don't need a 2-page document with a big signature. Mr. Bolton can hang this on his wall." 18 comments today's headlines newsletter. The most important news stories of the day, curated by Post editors and delivered every morning. Email address: by signing up you agree to our terms of use and privacy policy. Carol Morello. Carol Morello is the diplomatic correspondent for the Washington Post, covering the State Department. She previously wrote about demographics and the census. She has worked at the Post since 2000. Before that, she was a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer and USA Today. Follow WashingtonPost.com. Mohammad Javad Zarif, Foreign Affairs Minister of Iran. Image result for Zarif description: Mohammad Javad Zarif is an Iranian career diplomat and academic. He has been Foreign Minister of Iran since 2013. Before assuming his current position, he held various significant diplomatic and cabinet posts. Wikipedia.
So you could argue nothing 12 demands. If they allow inspections, then they're not making a nuke, then all sanctions should be uplifted, done away with, destroyed, and there's room for a new agreement. So I hope that Americans can put some water in the wine. They can make some concessions that they're willing to negotiate for a peaceful outcome that is beneficial to all humans. So Zarif has opened the door to universal peace, to world peace. World peace to prevent MADs, mutually assured destructions, etc. Retaliation would be automatic, so it would all go off like a set of dominoes in V for Vendetta. Or whatever the movie is called. Not one of my favorites. If I ruled the world. Okay, let's see another one. Well, I covered these 12 demands in the previous broadcast, so check it out on my channel. Try Something.Vegetarian on YouTube. Just clicking on the name will take you to my channel. Basically, it's the name underneath this video. To prevent thermonuclear war, etc. I have a better version of this. False flag attack on 2 cancer oil tankers. Eyewitness saw a flying projectile. Hole in ship above waterline. So I wrote on my Never Again World War on Twitter, a flying mine. So yeah, this is what technocracy looks like. Potentially everybody is brain controlled with synthetic telepathy, so in reality they have no free will. Their feelings and thoughts are controlled, so it's not their own idea anymore. But the idea the neural network puts in their head, and also the emotions that it wants these people to have with all these thoughts that it's generating. 24 hours a day it can monitor, but it's not just monitoring, it's also altering brain waves, it's also programming. And who knows what else is doing? What else it is doing? So I did a broadcast about the potential false flag attack as well. And their official story doesn't end up. Like the WTC story doesn't add up. And still, two wrongs don't make a right. Why? When I double click on this, then it's not becoming full screen. It normally would. And also when I hover over it, then the other thing is supposed to appear. And I can't move the image also. So it's really weird. This is the other one I made. By adding a smoke effect to this picture. Now I'm gonna close if I can make it full screen. It's so weird. But okay, perhaps everything I do is sabotage, like I say it is. Can I rule it out somehow? When we know synthetic telepathy is real and synthetic telepathy is used to control the human mind. So that's their main tool, and then when people don't comply, with these evil criminals, and they can be tortured remotely with these directed energy weapons. If they expose people that are in the government that are criminals, there's people that should be impeached. Many people thought Bush should be impeached. And perhaps some people think Netanyahu should be impeached. And that's not beneficial for the US, nor for Israel, the depleted uranium children. And many people agree there should be a law that makes the use of depleted uranium illegal worldwide. Perhaps the Luciferian UN could arrange that somehow. But I doubt if they will. There are several countries with depleted uranium stockpiles. I'm just putting the ideas out there for universal peace. And if the human race as a whole is going to self-annihilate, we had better be prepared with a radiological water filter and storable food. And I think that may still be their goal, fulfilling that prophecy. You have, by way of deception, thou shalt do war. For 𝙲𝙾𝙲𝚃 slogan, there's a book about that one. It's from the, what is it, Psalms, Proverbs, or Torah, something like that. It's a religious thing anyway. So you could argue it's insanity. Religion is an abomination, like I say. Or religion is an illusion, to quote Freud, and it's not something you're saying yourself, but something a famous psychiatrist said and wrote. And I agree with him totally. So don't let them fool you. But a time-traveling neural network that will control aging and everything else, perhaps they're working on that, perhaps they have something that can do it already in our future or in our near future. So don't let them destroy it all in a world war. Don't take any risks, unnecessary risks. It's possible none without a Tesla plasma shield would survive. If there are 15 scalar weapon countries, who knows what you consider your enemy has weapons. So it's no option to destroy millions or billions of innocent civilians, to reduce the global population to 500 million. It's an insane, despicable idea. Because the Earth is not overpopulated. In reality, everybody would fit into Australia, have their own piece of land and more than enough to eat if they divide the Earth's wealth equally among men. And the best way to control population is education, because educated people have a lower birth rate than uneducated ones. I said that right. So educated people have a lower birth rate. Apparently they think, well, if I get a baby, then it takes like 80% of my income, perhaps, or something like that. It depends if it will be a criminal, etc. Or whatever. Stop cancer chemtrails, ban cancer chemtrails. Annihilate cancer chemtrails, not people. So I use that word because that's what it does, cancer-causing barium. Like the tornado of recently. The 𝙵𝙰𝙲𝚃, etc. And it's a conspiracy fact. The book quotes prove it beyond any reasonable doubt. So it's not a conspiracy theory. The conspiracy to reduce the global population is real, unfortunately. Could it have a preventive effect? The book quotes are old, basically. I covered 50 population reduction book quotes. We know it didn't happen yet, but it may indicate that the plan is a world war, population stabilization around 500 million suggests the annihilation of 7 billion people somehow. Or perhaps they're teleported by spaceship to a better world. A better world with everlasting torture and abuse. So yeah, never again World War. It's no Twitter. There are commercials. Oh yeah, I was gonna install an add-on for Chrome. I think I have installed that. Remove promotions from Twitter. Well, it's not removing these commercials, I think. So it ends with Putin's Poseidon nuclear torpedoes that make 90-meter high tidal waves. Goody goody. So that's not really something to get excited about either. Perhaps I should play some music. See if my little mini air keyboard works. Oh, it works, wow. Picture show on. I didn't feel like playing this way at the moment, so sorry about that. So I began with 528 and this was 432 hertz tuned. In a previous broadcast I played better, I think, but this is, except for that one thing that was not nice, but this was reasonable. Well, it's reasonable. At least these frequencies are healing, so you can use it to stimulate your crystals, and hopefully it isn't even required. The World War was prevented, and sanctions are lifted, and an agreement, a new agreement can be made now. So the door is open, and we'll have to follow it in the mainstream media, what they're going to do about these 12 points that Pompeo has mentioned. But it's clear I'm for accepting this agreement, the offer of Zarif, and for anything that helps to contribute to universal peace that is most beneficial to the humans in all countries: Israel, Iran, US, Europe, and Russia. So the collision course, has it disappeared? Not totally, because they might not disagree on these 12 points. And then the question is, what happens? But I think that the US has no valid excuse to continue these sanctions if Iran has made this proposal, and they should implement it as fast as possible. Both parties could make some concessions, reach out to each other, and then World War III is prevented, and then we can all go back to our daily stuff, and more important stuff that we need to do to create a perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally. Possible because everything is energy. So yeah, thank you all for listening. Please like, subscribe, try something vegetarian, share, and what else is good out here for universal peace? Massaging each other, or doing something for a loved one, doing something for yourself, for change perhaps, or taking steps to create universal peace, to come up with new ideas, and perhaps also give feedback to UN members or other leaders, try to influence them and to dismantle all these nuclear weapons, to be an opposing force to the people that want to create a world war, that don't think about the consequences. Perhaps some people have never heard of mutually assured destruction, they have no idea what it means. But it is weird when they're talking so much about this without talking about Putin, the ally of Iran. And universal peace is another good thing to mention, or world peace, or just peace, so that people have a choice. So yeah, I'm just gonna do stuff for universal peace, I guess. The weather hasn't been very nice lately in the Netherlands. Also feeling kind of, I don't know, weak, basically. I'm feeling weak. I also look pretty weak, I guess. Anyway, if you're a single lady, you're welcome. And also people can Skype me, 𝙲𝙰𝙽𝚃𝚃, if they'd like to be in this broadcast. Then I'd first record it, and then if it's not in violation of any YouTube policy, then I can upload it. So Skype 𝙲𝙰𝙽𝚃𝚃 if you want to be in my broadcast for a better future, for humanity as a whole. To prevent a world war and illegal population reduction, etc. To expose what must be exposed, and to do what is required to create a perfect society, and to help guide people in the right direction, to become a movement, to get a voice. I would need millions more viewers and likes. So please hit the like button, y'all, and subscribe. And tune in next time on Try Something.Vegetarian. Peace, y'all. Peace out.